Hey, Shalom Akim, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Call Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us His truth. And as always, I want to give much peace, love, and salutation to the elect of the nation of Israel, the elect of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, that's pushing this word with all truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back again with another lesson. And Lord willing, you Akim and you off that listen, find this lesson edifying, because that's why we do these lessons. We do these lessons to edify the elect of the nation of Israel so that we can get up out of here. And Lord willing, we're of that precious number. All right? And as you brothers, and you know, I like to do lessons based upon this website here, endoftheamericandream.com. And typically when I do these lessons, I don't have any precepts written down. I just go based off the spirit of what the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah, feeds me. So I'm going to do the same in this lesson. You know, like I said, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, but this particular title is what caught my attention. It says, on the menu for the remainder of 2022, war, pestilence, and famine. All right, so that's on the menu for the remainder of the remainder of 2022 is going to be more war, more pestilence, and pestilence is disease, and famine. So when I read that, I immediately thought about 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, which we'll grab first before we read it. Well, before we read the article, I meant to say we'll grab 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right, and I'm going to start at the top and read down. Okay, it says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." You see, that's the main thing that the men of the Lord will be speaking in the last days is prophecy, because prophecy is the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Okay, and prophecy is what needs to be declared, so that what those who are looking forward to the prophecies know what to do and know what's coming. Because the Christian church, the so-called Christian church, isn't going into the prophecies of what the scriptures is saying. They're not going into the prophecies written in the book of Revelation. You know, and the main prophecy that we're looking for is the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. All right, they don't understand the prophecies. Okay, the scripture says that how is it worded again? For it is sealed. I'm just typing the word sealed real quick. No, I think it's in Isaiah. Right. Isaiah, the 29th chapter. We'll read this real quick. Isaiah 29 and 11, it says, "And the vision of all has become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed." And when you put a seal upon something, that means that it's closed shut. It's pretty much sealed shut. It says, "Which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed." And that's what they say about particular prophecies, like, you know, prophecies written in Isaiah. You know, Babylon the Great being America. You know, like I mentioned earlier, the MOTB. All right, who Esau is, who the Israelites are. You know, and if you go to these wacky tacky Christian churches, they'll tell you, "Oh, it's sealed." You know, well, it wasn't given unto us because it's sealed. But the scriptures tell you in Revelation, the 5th chapter, that Yahweh Shai, he broke the seal. You see, the seals have been loosed. So if the seals is loosed, that means that the understanding should be coming out from somewhere. And where is it coming from? All right, it's coming from the men of the Lord. All right, starting from our apostles and elders on down, man, we believe through faith and through the Spirit that we have the 100% truth. And that's what's being preached in these last days, man. The prophecy is dropping as rain, man. Okay, so going back to 2nd Ezra, verse 2, 15 verse 2, it says, "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." And the paper is talking about what? The scriptures. All right, it says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." Because you got a lot of people speaking up against the things that we say. Incredulity means unbelief. You see, and they try to trouble us like the likes of Vocab Malone, or these other camps, you know, that mock the prophecies, that mock the MOTB. that make light of what the prophecies is talking about, hey, a lot of blood is going to be on their hands. It says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness, you see? And the majority of these people are unfaithful, man. That's why Yahweh Shah said, when he comes, shall he find faith on earth. It also is written that the slain of the Lord is going to be many, right? Here's the point, verse 5, it says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. Plagues upon the world. Okay? And this world here is talking about the whole world. Okay? The sword, which represents war, right? The gun, weaponry, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. See? These things are coming on the world on a more epic proportion. Because right now, people have been lollied back to sleep by way of, gas prices going down a little bit. It's the summertime, even though it's hot as shit. It's hot as hell out here in Texas, But, you got people, going out to the pools and, having, doing all these different things. Right? But little do they know that a sword is being sharpened and being furbished. It tells you that in Ezekiel 21. I might get that later. A sword is being sharpened and is being furbished to get ready to be used, man. And Esau gonna come down with great wrath, man, with his NWO system. Okay? So let's read some of this article, and like I said, whatever precepts come, we'll pull them. It says, enjoy this summer while you can, because global events will soon escalate to an even more alarming level. And I just mentioned that. It said what? Enjoy the summer while you can. So these people, enjoying the summertime, what I'm saying, going to the barbecues, outside, hitting the streets. But here it is, you got the Crown Vic that's ramping back up. New variants and things of that nature. I don't even want to say that word. Right? It says global events will soon escalate to an even more alarming level. You see that it's going to grow even worse, and that makes me think of Matthew the 24th chapter. Matthew 24 verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And are we not seeing that on a global proportion? Absolutely we are. You got the whole issue with Russia and Ukraine. Here recently, Joe Biden pretty much just got mocked all the way back to America by the Saudis. Esau Edom is being exposed, man. So you got all these different uproars. You got uproars of the people in Sri Lanka, uproars of the people in Panama. You see, uproars of the people held here in America. It says, for nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places, man. Not just in one area, but in a lot of different areas. You're going to begin to see global famine, global pestilence, pandemic, not an epidemic, but pandemics, which pan meaning all, demic meaning, or demos meaning people, right? All these are the beginning of sorrows. It's the beginning of things that are coming to be worse, as it says here in the NLT. But all this is only the first of the birth pains, with more to come. Did we not just read that in the article? Global events will soon escalate to an even more alarming level. It says, needless to say, if 2022 ended right now, it will be remembered for a lot of really bad things. Right. Prior to this year, we didn't have a war in Ukraine. And nobody was talking about Nobody was talking about MP. Right. Inflation was a relatively minor concern. Food riots weren't erupting in poor countries like Sri Lanka. And we weren't facing the prospect of a very painful recession. Because little do people know, man, the nation is America is in a very painful, as it says here, very painful recession right now, man. Economy has slowed down. And with the economy slowing down, what they don't rise the interest rates. So what? It makes people not spend as much money if you got higher interest rates. Now, when interest rates are lower, that's when they want the economy to be moving. You see, when interest rates are lower, so that gets more people to spend more money because you don't got to pay so much interest on things. You see? It says, so much has happened in the last 6 months, but I have a feeling that the next 6 months are going to be even crazier. You see, it's going to get even worse, man. That's why we're right now. This is 2022, the year of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai turning up. And if you can't see that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is turn the volume up and turn the heat up on this place, man, you got to be out your mind, man. Okay, the Lord is cranked it up to another level, and He keeps cranking it up to a new level each time. How could that be possible? Well, how about another major war? On Thursday, Yair Lapid and Joe Biden signed a joint pledge that expressed their shared intention to do whatever is necessary to keep Iran from getting nuclear weapons. Right? It says a joint pledge. Pretty much, there was a contract or an agreement that was made so that Iran can't get nuclear weapons, because if Iran gets nuclear weapons, as they say, they want to destroy the state of Israel. And we understand and know, according to prophecy, that first and foremost, all hell's not going to break loose, and World War III is not going to be commenced unless the mandatory implementation of the MOTB gets pushed. Okay, you're not going to have World War III and nukes being shot off, and then the MOTB after that. No, it's going to be the other way around. Okay, but let's get a prophecy real quick here. This is Jeremiah 49, and let's start up at verse. Man, this is really a banging chapter, but let's start at verse 18. It says, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. And this is talking about Babylon. Matter of fact, let me start with verse 17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Okay, who is Edom? All right, it's synonymous with Esau. Esau and Edom are the same. Okay, the Edomites, they're going to be a desolation, and who in the modern day Edomites today are the so-called self-proclaimed white people, right? Which run the world today in wickedness, and they operate what's known as America today, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. And that lines up with Revelation 18. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. You see? Because what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah, it got burned the hell up for all its wickedness, man, for its abominations. And the same abominations that was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah got the same thing going on here in America, man, proving that this is modern day Sodom and Egypt, as it tells you in Revelation 11. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. And that's over there in what the world calls the Middle East. Okay, the valley of Jehoshaphat, or the Levant. But I will suddenly make him run away. But I will suddenly make him run away from her. And who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her? For who is like me? And who will appoint me the time? And who is that shepherd that will stand before me? Pretty much nobody, man. You see, there's nobody that's going to be able to stand up against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai whenever Yahweh Shai returns. Therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Edom. There it is again. And his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And the least of the flock is talking about Amalek. Okay, the least of the flock is talking about Amalek here, or what you call the state of Israel. All right, something is going to happen, whereas the state of Israel is going to do something, right, which is going to cause a powder keg to pretty much commence in the Middle East, which is going to drag America into World War III. Okay, and it's going to be world war. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And who knows if they shoot a missile at Iran or whatever the case may be, but that's soon to see. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall. At the cry, the noise thereof is heard in the Red Sea, which is over there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the Red Sea region. You see? Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And that lines right up with Isaiah 63. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. You see, that's when these elites are going to understand. These elites of the nation of Edom going to know, hide the rocks upon me from the face of the Lamb, as it is written. And the Lord is going to search the devils out, man. You see, when Yahushua returns in the midst of World War III, you're going to have Yahushua return in the chariots with the angels, Michael the archangel, and they all going to put all their differences aside and try to fight against the Lord, man. But before all that takes place, like the Lord said, he said, I will that it already be kindled. I come to bring fire on the earth, and I wish that it would already be kindled. You see? So it's already going to be all kinds of mayhem taking place on the earth before the Lord comes back. Right? Jumping back to the article, during a joint appearance following the signing, Biden made the position of the U.S. government very clear. We'll see what it says. Biden said Iran has an opportunity to accept the agreement that is before them. If they don't, we made absolutely clear, we will not, let me say again, we will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon. You see? And this has been the same talk that's been going on, for some time. You had the different P5+1 countries that all pretty much signed an agreement to pretty much have it to whereas Iran couldn't produce a particular amount of uranium. You see? And those P5+1 countries was Russia, America, Great Britain. I want to say it was France, China, and then the plus one I want to say I think was Germany. You had the Iran nuclear deal. You can look that up. It says, of course, U.S. officials have been saying similar things for a long time, like I just said. But now the IAEA, right, has officially announced that Iran possesses enough fissile material to construct a nuclear bomb. And so the time to put up or shut up is here. And like I said, we've been hearing this for some years, all the way going back to the time of, probably before that, from what I can remember, though, I'd rather say from the time of Barack Obama when he was in office. But, hey, biblical prophecy is going to commence, man. Whether people like it or not. Hey, the scripture says, matter of fact, let me pull it real quick. Proverbs 21:1. Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh, as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. You see, so the Lord is the one that's controlling everybody. He's the one that's controlling everybody's thoughts. He's the one that's making particular leaders sign particular deals, backdoor deals and things of that nature. It's the Lord that's doing it, because ultimately what? War is being brewed up for a purpose of prophecy to be fulfilled and Babylon the Great to be destroyed. Okay? That's the reason why this is happening. So, Lockie, hold on 1 second. All right. So going back, it says Israel has been practicing for a strike on Iran, and I'm sure that Lapid and Biden extensively discussed the possibility of such a strike happening in the months ahead. When that day finally arrives, Iran will inevitably hit back really hard. We just read the prophecy. We read it. We just read it in Jeremiah 49. The least of the flock's gonna draw them out. You see, because you had General Flynn. Let's see if I can actually find that. General Flynn. General Flynn. Flynn. 7 countries, 5 years. I think it's what it was. It might have been 5 countries. It might have been 5 countries in 7 years. Let's see. Man, I can't remember. I can't remember if he said 7 countries in 5 years, or 5 countries in 7 years. But it's neither here nor there. But pretty much they pretty much had an itinerary, for lack of better words, that showed forth that they want to hit particular countries, and Iran was going to be the last one. You see, but you have prophecy being fulfilled with the fact of what? Russia being a guard into these smaller nations, man. As it tells you in Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. It says, meanwhile, U.S. relations with China continue to go downhill very quickly. On Tuesday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken once again found a way to really anger the Chinese. The Biden administration reminded China on Tuesday that the U.S. will intervene to defend the Philippines if Manila's vessels come under attack in the South China Sea, because that's been another thing that's been going on for some years, was the occupation of the South China Sea, which you got China pretty much claiming like, look, this is our territory, back off. All right, as well as the Philippines. But then also too, you got American you have like American vessels out there, Navy ships and things of that nature, and aircraft carriers out there pretty much within the waters too. Secretary of State Antony Blinken made the warning in a statement on the anniversary of an international tribunal ruling that sided with the Philippines against China in a territorial dispute over the South China Sea. Okay, because in this next world's war, China's going to be a big key piece, that's going to also shoot missiles over here, man. But China's not going to be the next one to rule, because when America falls, China falls. When America falls, all these different nations interconnectedly are going to fall, man. Because the dollar is really still king. It is being weakened by the second, but it is still key. It is still king because what? It's the petrodollar. You see, and all these nations have drunk the wine. All the nations have drunk the wine of the fornication, man. Like it tells you in Jeremiah 51, all these nations have. Okay, it says, and then on Wednesday, a U.S. Navy destroyer sailed into disputed waters near the Paracel Islands. China is fuming after the U.S. Navy on Wednesday sailed a destroyer near the China-controlled Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. And this is America, just in everybody's backyard, man. It's just everywhere, man. You see, he's a fugitive and a vagabond, man. He's a wanderer. This man he's restless. And Rome did the same thing. Rome spread his military thin. It spread his military thin, and then what happened? It fell because it was weak. It crumbled from the inside out. And you see the same thing happening to America, man. You see, but America's in everybody's backyard and back door trying to police the world, trying to tell everybody else what they need to do and what they can and can't do. That's why these different nations are making deals and pacts together to what? Eventually come up against the whore that rideth upon the beast. Revelation 17. Right? The Navy's 7th Fleet said that the guided missile destroyer USS Benfold was in the region and passed near the disputed island chain to uphold the rights, freedoms, and lawful uses of the sea. So here it is. But let them do that. Let China do that over here. Let them do that in the Atlantic or the Pacific. That it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. America would send their Air Force and their military out there as quicker than you could blink. They'll be out there. It says China's Southern Theater Command, however, said it closely monitored the American vessel as it had illegally entered China's territorial waters. The PLA military said it drove the warship away. It illegally entered territorial waters, man. You see? That's why it makes me think of this scripture here in Psalm 140? The start of verse 1, it says, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, deliver me, O Yahweh, from the evil man. And who is this evil man talking about? This evil man is talking about Esau. Okay, Esau, Edom. He's the evil man. He's the one on he's the one on earth, destroying the earth as we know it, destroying the people writing all kinds of wicked decrees. Okay, and mainly he has Esau has an agenda against Jacob, the Israelites, right? It says, preserve me from the violent man. It was not Rome known as the violent. Did not Yahweh Shai saying the violent take it by force? Letting you know who the Romans are, man. Who the Edomites are. Who the Romans are. Who are they today? Right? It says, which imagine mischiefs in their heart. So let's get this word mischiefs real quick here. They imagine or they devise. That word mischief or imagine is chashab, which means to devise or reckon, right? Mischiefs is what? Rai, evil, right? They devise evil, which imagine mischiefs in their hearts. Continually are they gathered together for war. Continually, man. That's why America's been, the years that America has so-called been in existence has been in war more times than it hasn't. You see? And who operates America? Esau, right? It says, I think that the war in the Middle East is coming first. But as I've been warning for a long time, we will eventually have a war with China too. Because who's the ally of China? Russia. And the war is going to come in the Middle East. That's where it's going to start off. Like it tells you in Joel, the 3rd chapter. We'll get it. Joel chapter 3, verse 1. It says, for behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, which is happening right now. The captivity is being brought back. We're being restored back to our order through the Spirit. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And that word Jehoshaphat broken down in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment. All these different, that's why it's going to be world war. It's not just going to be two nations down there, and they ain't about to be down there only just shooting bullets. It's going to be nuclear. It's going to be missiles being shot, man. That lines up with Isaiah the 9th chapter. The next war is going to be fought with burning of fuel of fire, right? Verse 2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. So the reason as to why this is happening in these nations, the Lord is going to complete or contend and fight against these nations is for us, starting with the elect. You see, so that we can be brought back into our original state. Whom they, the nations, have scattered among the nations. When I say the nations, this is talking about the actual heathen, right? Have scattered among the nations, proving that we've been scattered, and parted my land. And when you look at the land of Israel today, it's just looks like a land with it looks like a Swiss cheese, man. All kinds of little pockets and holes. Part of it's goes to the so-called Arabs, and then part goes in the 1948ers. You got the Golan Heights region. This is all these different holes and military regions. You see, they parted our land, man, and that's our land. That land belongs to us according to the covenants and according to the promises, man. On another note, the global MP outbreak continues to get even worse, and when you read up on that disease is being spread by way of moality, if you can catch my lingo, right? It is now spread to 75 different countries, and the total number of cases has risen to 11,166, right? I have really been hoping that this doesn't become a I have really been hoping that this doesn't become a full-blown global pandemic, but the numbers continue to rise at an exponential rate, because even if this is man-made or whatever the case may be, it still is from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, because the Lord said that he would bring plagues upon Egypt as before. This is a plague that is brought by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai at the end of the day, man. Right? I have really been hoping that this doesn't become a fully blown global demic, but the numbers continue to rise at an exponential rate. At the same time, health authorities are telling us that the worst V of the Crown Vic is here, and the number of cases in the U.S. is really starting to spike once again. And that's another thing that's being brought back up. Is the quote unquote the other wave, You see, it's a new wave of this popping back up again. You know, they put the the mask mandates and all that good stuff. You know, now the mask mandates then came back. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, man. But that's ultimately from the Lord, man. You see, the Lord is getting ready to make people extremely uncomfortable again, man. Because the people done got comfortable, thinking that everything was good. But that's the scriptures. 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them as a woman in travail. Okay? I'm going to skip a little bit of this. I don't want my video to get clipped. It has become clear that the crown isn't going away. See, it's not going away. It's here to stay. It ain't going away, and it's here to stay. Right? And it's just going to continue to grow worse. Health and my man JB just got diagnosed with the icky vicky too. Health officials assured us that if we just did what they instructed us to do, that we would eventually be able to put this demic behind us. Of course, now it is obvious that was not true at all. And you got all these people that got the jump shot juice, thinking that was going to protect them and save them. You got to take this jump shot juice. You got to take the backdoor jump shot juice on top of 9 boosters on top of that. Now you good. But here it is. The majority of people that's getting it again is the people that took the juice, right? It says, of course, now it is obvious that was not true at all. All their efforts to end this GP have failed. And now we have a global nightmare on our hands. So many people have already died during this thing. And so many more are going to die in the months ahead. And that's true. You see? Many more are going to die, man. And that reminds me of the scripture of, what is it, 2nd Ezra, the 8th chapter? There be more perish. Whoops, not perish. Let's see. There be more that perish. Okay, 2nd Ezra 9 and 15. It says, Then answered I and said, I have said before, and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. Like as a wave is greater than a drop. You see, as a wave of water is greater than just one drop that goes into the ocean. That's going to be the comparison between how many people are going to die compared to how many people is going to make it, which is a very, 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 very vast comparison. Okay. It says, speaking of death, the global famine that we were warned about is already here. And that makes me think of another precept. There be many that shall die of famine. Many famine. 2nd Ezra 16 or 6. Let me see. Yep, 2nd Ezra 16, verse 22. Ooh, let's start at verse 21. It says, Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And an example of victuals is like resources, food, goods, services, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. Yeah, man, gas is going down, man. You know, we've seen the price of food just drop a little bit, you know. Everything's going back to how it used to be, man. We're good, right? And even then shall evils or bad times grow upon earth. Sword, which is war, famine, and great confusion. Great confusion, man. Because what causes you to become perplexed is when there's a lack of resources, man. That's where confusion comes in. You see, that's when you know when you take away somebody's sandwich, confusion comes in, man. Cannibalism, right? For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine. You see? So the many people that's going to die in these coming days to come is going to be by way of famine. You see, and a famine isn't necessarily only just a famine based upon a lack of rain or a lack of crops growing, which that's actually taking place too, you know. But truck stopping. Remember, the whole West Coast docking stations got shut down pretty much over the thing. You know? And the other that escaped the hunger shall the sword destroy. So there ain't gonna be no escape. Ain't gonna be no escape. See? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. Ain't gonna be no funerals, ain't gonna be no ambulances, ain't gonna be no burial grounds where you're gonna have just people having just service. If that's the case, it'll be funerals and services taking place 24 hours, 7 days a week for how much death it's gonna be. For the earth shall be wasted and the city shall be cast down, and that's what's getting ready to come. Right? According to the head of the UN World Food Program, the number of acutely hungry people is now at an all-time high. Right, an all-time high. The spike in food, fuel, and fertilizer prices sparked by the war in Ukraine is threatening to push countries around the world into famine. See that? But Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is the one that's in control of that. He is the Lord of hosts. He is the Lord of armies, bringing global destabilization, starvation, and mass migration on an unprecedented scale, a top UN official warned Wednesday. David Beasley, head of the UN World Food Program, said its latest analysis shows that a record 345 million acutely hungry people are marching to the brink of starvation. Bro, 345 million people is a lot of people. A 25% increase from 276 million at the start of 2022. So it increased 25% just from the beginning of the year, and we're just a little over half of the year. Right? Before Russia, let me read it again. A 25% increase from 276 million at the start of 2022 before Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. Right. So half a year in, it's increased 25%. The number stood at 135 million before the epidemic in early 2020. We are already seeing an alarming number of people starve to death in some parts of Eastern Africa. Sadly, this includes very young children, and hey, that's part of what Ezekiel 9:4, or Ezekiel 9:7. Let's start at verse 6 or verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. And that's that death angel, man. Right? Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids. Let's read this again. Let's read this in the NLT actually. Kill them all. Old and young. Girls and women and little children. Right? But do not touch anyone with the mark. And this mark is the Tawah, which is a mark of exemption. Begin right here at the temple, meaning those that understand and know the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The Lord, the scripture says that 1 Peter 4, that judgment will begin at the house of the Most High. So they began by killing the 70 leaders. See that? But the main point I want to grab, it says what? It said old and young, girls and women and little children. Hey, the Lord, he doesn't have a respecter of he ain't no respecter of persons. So it's going to be very, very young children that's going to be getting put to death, man. By famine, starvation, pestilence, disease, the sword, women, men, old men, old women, these, like Elder Apostle Rakah say, these GMO babies, man. The Lord is going to do away with them, man. Let's see. It should break your heart to hear of very young children starving to death. Unfortunately, this is just the beginning. You see, this is just the beginning of sorrows, as we read in Matthew 24. David Beasley and other global officials are warning that things will get much worse in the months ahead. This is not a game. See that? And it's not a game. See, but Jake think that everything is a game, man. Jake is all caught up in the mirth in the jovial festivities of this world, man. Global events really are starting to spiral out of control. And the perfect storm that we are now experiencing will only become more intense from this point forward. So from this point forward, it's just going to get worse. You see? It's just going to just gradually just get worse until it gets better. Okay, and when it gets better, that's when Yahweh Shai returns. The elect are beamed up. You see, in righteousness rules in the planet earth, because the reason why this is going on is because the wicked are bearing rule, so the people are mourning. See? So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone, taught us his truth, and much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Shalom.